Starting streaming. Vancouver, Canada, 4:39 a.m. Sunday, April 1, 2018. Starting. Okay, hello everybody, good morning. It is 4:40 a.m. Vancouver time, that is Pacific Western time, from Vancouver, Canada. So, good morning everybody. I actually have my coffee. Look, it's a coffee cup. You'd have to take my word for it that there's coffee in there. So, guess what? It's April Fool's. April Fool's Day, early. I don't know how long I'm going to go on for, but I thought, well, no, something new. Huh? So, but. There's a serious side that I want to get over with first. There we go. I can see your eyes now. Okay, so there's a serious side I want to get over with first. All right, now, and it's to do with South Africa, because where else can you get serious about, really? But in a way, it's comical, and it's subjective, and it's perspective. Okay? So, I know I'm going to put a lot of people's noses out of joint, especially white people. And I don't care, because it's my perspective, and it's my point of view, and not yours. And yours might be different, and I don't care. And the reason I say this is because on Facebook, actually it's quite hilarious. On Facebook, as you might have heard me mention before, I have a Facebook group called, well, it's if you know Cape Town at all, there's this mountain called Table Mountain, and on the slopes of Table Mountain, which head down towards the sea, there's residential areas, and I grew up in one of those residential areas, and the group I made is regarding the residential area that I grew up in. So a lot of people that are in, well, most everybody that's in that group are people from, that grew up there back in the maybe 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, now, today. Now, a lot of people that are in that group are still living there. So they are in the sort of that political correctness kind of, don't say anything that might rock the boat. All anxious and anxiety and stuff. Anyway, you know me, I rock the boat. I say shit that I feel, or I have experienced, or whatever. my point of view. But people don't like that. In fact, in my own Facebook group, it's funny, but in my own Facebook group, I have been called upon to be banned from my own Facebook group. I'm the admin, but they want to ban me from my own Facebook group. And do you know why they want to ban me? Because I have a point of view that differs to theirs. And I'm going to show you what it is pretty soon. And I'm also, if we have some time, just have some fun, I'll show you the group and how I have triggered them, pushed the buttons, and all exploded all over the place. Facebook group. It's gonna be fun. Now, firstly, what I want to do first. Oh yeah, the serious side. Now, the serious side is if you look at the thumbnail cover, you'll see that it's a thumbnail of our good friend Julius Malema on the right, and our bad friend B.J. Vorster on the left. Okay, now, perspective. When I lived in South Africa, firstly, I was born there, and I didn't leave until I was 20 years old. So I had a good old 2 decades of horror living in South Africa. In 1976, in about this June period, I think, there was an explosion of black outrage. I, at the time, as you could tell, I was living there in the middle of it all. It was scary. It was very scary. And it's not a matter of whether the blacks had a right to riot. Damn rights they had a right to riot, but that's not the thing. What really pisses me off, what pisses them off, what pissed them off then, what pisses them off now, what pissed me off then, what pisses me off now, is the boer, the Afrikaner, the attitude to taking care of or solving this issue. And the issue was basically trying to put down a revolution. And it was a just revolution. Horribly brutal regime of B.J. Vorster treating fellow citizens, actually not even treating fellow citizens, relegating fellow citizens to non-citizenship of the country that B.J. Vorster is the Prime Minister of, the police state of South Africa. At one point, the riots got so bad that Prime Minister B.J. Vorster, he came on television and he gave a speech. Okay, this is like, you know, remember when can you imagine a dictator? Imagine Czechoslovakia in 1956, right? Remember what happened? The Russians, they crushed it to pieces. They crushed. So, I was living in a country where BJ Vorster was the kind of guy who was going to crash, right? And yeah, I'm going to see if I can find his speech. I know he gave his speech somewhere or other. Where is his speech? Damn, where is his speech? It must be under there. I don't know where your speech is. Oh, yes, I do. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, while I go look for BJ Forster's speech, I just want to bring your attention to my background there. Just give me one moment while I get rid of my pretty little face. Okay, pretty face, bye. Bye. Okay, you see there, Ashkenazi atheist. That is, I guess, what I am. Huh? I'm an Ashkenazi atheist. Because genetically, I'm Ashkenazi. I can't do anything about that. The general consensus, the general sort of meme is Ashkenazi Jew. But Jew indicates religion. And Madame et Monsieur, I'm not religious. So I'm an atheist. But I'm also an Ashkenazi. I can't help that. So I'm an Ashkenazi atheist. So I have to differentiate for everybody regarding this Jew thing. But before I bring my image back onto the screen, I want to finish the rest of this graphic. My big no in debating is to debate is no point in debating if something is a fact. There's no point in debating a perspective that refutes a fact. If it's a fact, evolution is a fact. Evolution is science fact. There is no debate. That's what you read on the screen. And that's what I mean. If you're gonna, I'm gonna open up the chat room in a while when I got through this sort of serious / cynical, sarcastic stuff with Vorster and Malema. Anyway, once I got through that, then I'm going to open up the room to chat, to debate. But I want to tell you right now that evolution is not subject to debate. Evolution is a fact. Mythology is not a fact. Theology is not a fact. It's just based. It's sort of intangible philosophy, if there's such a phrase. Right. I'm sure you've had enough of not seeing me, so I'm going to slide myself back in. Hello. Okay, yes. While I look for Mr. Forster's speech, I would like to introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to a Jew. Oh, someone who says a Jew. I guess if you say you're a Jew, right? If you're religious, you're religious. It doesn't really matter. Fuck it. Now, I definitely do not identify as a Jew. Absolutely not. Judaism, like any other religion, is a cult. And like any other religion, I think it's a contains a number of cults. Like within Judaism, there's the cult of Hasidism, the Chabadnikim, like John Geshala of New York tries to be the one I'm going to introduce you to. He's the Jew that the Lobster, my buddy, calls the shittiest Jew in the world. Yeah. Okay. Now, you know how Jews are nice people, right? Well, not all of them. Some of them are actually terrorists. Some of them are actually hateful. Some of them are actually really hateful. But to give you an idea of what a Jew thinks of someone like me, or the Lobster, who's an atheist. Firstly, I just want to introduce you to the Jew. John, psst, come on in. Here he is. Okay, this is John, and as you can tell, John, on in the mornings he goes to the synagogue and he prays his morning ritual. As you can tell, he's got his tefillin on. He's got his phylacteries. You can tell around his left arm. He's got it wound. If you'll notice, around his forearm, he's got it wound a certain amount of times. Looks like it's counted. And then around the wrist, it sort of goes round and round a million times. Doesn't matter. And then he seems to have it wrapped around a finger in some way. And then on top of his head, he's got that box. And within that box is apparently a prayer of some sort. Now, what he's holding in his arms, what he's cradling, is a Sefer Torah, Torah scroll, which once, when unraveled and read, is actually handwritten and copied meticulously from a meticulously copied scroll, which has been meticulously copied. I mean, it's actually quite OCD the way they copy the Torah, but by being OCD, they're able to maintain the integrity of the work, because it's all the same. If they make a mistake, they throw it away. So, what does John like to do? What does John think of atheists? You can look at him. You can tell he's a Jew. He subscribes to all the Jewish garb. He's got the the tefillin and the Torah and the talis, and he's got the talit, the prayer shawl. He's got the yarmulke. He's got the kippah. He's got the skull cap. Got the beard. He's got that sort of look as if he's in love with God. But is he? Is he? Or is he just a hateful cunt?
Right? People have an extreme problem with atheists and atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive. Right? People have an extreme problem with atheists and atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive. Right? People have an extreme problem with atheists and atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive. Right? People have an extreme problem with atheists and atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Jew. The Jew hates us. Oh, talking about us. Who is us? Who? Excuse me. Wrong grammar. Who are us? No. Who are us? Who is us? Who are we? I don't know. Let me get back on track. Who are we? Well, there's an empty chat room. Excuse me. I'll take that back. There's an empty YouTube chat room that I'm going to see if I can find firstly. There it is. Yeah. So there's this empty YouTube chat room, which is ready to be bombarded with keyboard keystrokes. But what I wanted to do was bring your attention to this Dawkins scale image. There it is. Now, see that Dawkins scale image there? I'm going to go find it in a better size for you. How does that work? I don't know either. I'm sure I'll find one. Oops. In the meantime, listen to this. That's pretty good, huh? But I've got to do something to stop it. Nah, it also sounds good. What's happening here? Yes, I'm looking for the speech, and I think I found the speech. So just chill. Right, ladies and gentlemen, there is the Dawkins scale. Okay. Now, I would like to focus. Let me see if we can do something better like that. So what I'm going to do is focus on not number 1, not number 2, number 3, number 5, number 6, not number 6, but on number 7. Now, a number 7 on the Dawkins scale, as you can see, says, I'm 100% sure that there is no God. Okay? We here on the Ashkenazi Atheist channel are 100% sure that there is no God. We don't really push it, but when we review videos that have statements that we've just heard from Mr. John Gishala, then we get serious. Actually, we just laugh at them, but we don't hold back. Right, now, let's get back to OBJ Vorster. Okay. I've kept you waiting long enough, right? So, let's see. Got to get rid of a couple of... Oh, hold on a second. I gotta take you back to La La Land here for a second, because I have to resize stuff I have not noticed. I had not. Oh, there we go. All right. We are so close. We are so close that we couldn't really be that much closer. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oops. Wow. Finally. All right. So here we have on the 18th of June 1976, the Prime Minister of South Africa, B.J. Vorster, brutal cunt, police state, well, leader of the police state of South Africa at the time. Prior to his coming out and making the statement that I'm about to play for you, the majority population of South Africa was in a state of revolution. They were pissed. They were pissed because they were being treated like animals. No. Worse than animals. Animals are actually treated with respect. But not black people in South Africa in 1976. Not by the government, and not by the Boer, and not by the Christian Dutch Reformed Church. None of that. So, why I hate the Boer is essentially because of this response. I remember watching it live, and I tell you something, this is Hitler in my time.
I have to inform you that the police have been instructed, regardless of who is involved, to protect lives and property with every means at their disposal. Unfortunately, I cannot come to any other conclusion but that we are dealing here not with a spontaneous outburst, but with a deliberate attempt to bring about polarization between whites and blacks. Certain organizations and persons working together to achieve this are doing this with a view to attaining obvious objectives. Further, to what the Minister of Justice has already said, I want to issue a warning that this kind of behavior should immediately be stopped. This government will not be intimidated, and instructions have been given to maintain law and order at all costs. Those educational institutions at which blacks are destroying their own amenities will be closed for an indefinite period. If, as it would seem to me, people have the idea that the government, in view of my intended talks, will now hesitate to act, they are making a mistake. I want to emphasize that however important these talks are, and they are very important, law and order in South Africa is more important to me than anything else.
All right. Law and order in South Africa is more important to this dude than anything else. Law and order. You know what that means, right? Police and whips and dogs and guns and ammunition and tear gas and state terrorism. Fuck. Piss me off. Piece of shit. Okay, so that was the atmosphere that I, as a hell was I in June 1976, I was not yet 20 years old. I was 19 years old. Yeah. That was also around the time of the Entebbe hostage-taking rescue. Anyway. That was state terrorism that you just saw. Okay? Threatening the population, law and order at any cost. Right, so now we can transition to June of 2017. All right? That is from 1976 to 2017. You look at it, I don't know, like 3,000 years or something. I don't know. My math isn't great, which is why I don't work for Tesla, SpaceX, NASA, Bob's engineering store down the street. So, after that speech that we just watched, that was a kind of a wake-up call for me. Hey. Do I want to be part of this? At the time, they were calling me up to this army of theirs, this apartheid army. Yo, fucking youth, come fight with me. come kill a gaffer, man. Come on, man, let's kill a gaffer. Fuck that. Oh, talking about the K word, the gaffer word. I was watching SABC the other day, and apparently they said some woman. Jesus Christ! Listen to this. How's this for politically correct? All of a sudden, South Africa, for fuck's sake. Anyway, they sent this woman to jail for I don't know, a couple of years, whatever, for using the K word. They call it the K word. I don't know, 48 times when she was all pissed off at some black something. I don't know what happened, but she was gaffer, 48 times. When I lived in South Africa for 20 fucking years, I heard the K word all the time. Very seldom did I hear it from whites. Never. They never. What do the fucking whites care about? They had their own problems. But the key word I heard from the coloureds, they fucking kafar here, kafar there, kafar besuad geslati kafar. And another thing I'm going to tell you is the young mind remembers lots of things. When I was, this is 1976, so let's go back to 1972, say. Yeah, 1972. And living in Cape Town on the slopes of Table Mountain. Really nice. But don't forget that we were kids. I was what? I don't know. 14, 15, something like that. And I have two sisters, and our neighbors 2 doors down had a maid, as we all did, but that maid had a child, and that child was sort of our age. So we used to play, hang out together in the streets, and just hang out, gardens and whatnot. South Africa is a very hot place, and if you like people, they're nice to you, that you're nice to them. So we used to hang out. And I'm trying to remember her name. Patricia, I think her name was Patricia. She would, at one point, she taught us the kind of songs that they would sing and do at their school, because our schools were separated. We were white schools, and they were coloured schools. Or she was in a coloured school. And the coloured schools were in black. Right? The coloured schools were coloured. And the blacks and the coloureds then, I don't know about today. I don't have a clue about today, but at the time, back in 1976, they did not like each other. So, Patricia taught my sisters and me one of the songs that they used to sing at school. Now, I don't remember the whole thing. I don't remember most of it. But I remember about 2 lines and kind of the tune, the sort of the rhythm. And it went something like this. Ewe malantu kafir na se kant tu Zulu na se lant tu. And then I don't remember the rest of it. So, and then they send this white woman to jail for saying kafir. Come on, man, it's just part of the lexicon there. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to Julius Malema and what he has to say when questioned about the land, what's called the land grab, but it's really what land expropriation without compensation. That's what the EFF want. The EFF is one of the opposition parties in Parliament, headed by Julius Malema, who hate him or really hate him. I think he's a really good. I like him. I think he's a good speaker. I think he's genuine. He's principled. At this point, when he becomes president, and between you and me, I think one day he will, if he lives that long, he might change. He might mellow out. But anyway, this is Julius, and for the next 3 minutes and 37 seconds, we will listen in a little bit.
So I want you to speak to them very plainly. If EFF won 50% plus 1 vote, and you don't have to go into a coalition in 2019, what would be the implications for their property rights?
Well, what we say in the EFF, exactly what I said here, is that the state must be the custodian of the land. Why? Because you are refusing to release the land. Black people will never own the land. They don't have money. They will never have money because the ownership of the land is the one that results in you having the money. So the struggle has always been about property ownership. It was never about driven in 1 million BMW. It was never about driven with bodyguards. It was about the property ownership. So we need the state to then say, all of this land, including Malema's house, everyone else, this land belongs to the state. And then it shall be allocated back to the same person. If it's residential under so and so. If it's an office park, it's office park under so and so. We lease it back to you as the state. As long as a purpose is clearly defined on what that piece of land is used for. Once you have done that, you must see how much pieces of land we are going to remain with. Because there's too much land out there. Then that which remains then gets to be allocated for those who have been looking for land but cannot afford to get that piece of land. When I was coming here, I got a call from a young lady who says, I've got the money. I want to do a chicken farm. And there's no piece of land. I cannot afford to buy a piece of land. But if allocated a piece of land, then I can invest in that piece of land and do a chicken farm. So there will never be a chicken farm because there's no piece of land. And when you look for a piece of land, it's extremely expensive. Let every piece of land be occupied and the purpose be clearly defined. What are you using this land for? Now people say, if you take the land, the investors will go. Why would investor go in a country where they say to you, you want to open an industry? Here is a piece of land. You can occupy it for 50 years. You don't have to pay us anything. We're going to give you water at a reasonable rate. We're going to give you electricity at a reasonable rate as long as you employ our people, as long as you contribute to the economic growth. And most of the things you use in this factory, they must be produced here. So why would an investor not grab such, especially foreign investors, such an opportunity? So the land will be guaranteed because when you want to build a factory, you bring the money, you build the factory, we bring the land. That's what makes us partners.
I don't know. I didn't understand that at all. I really didn't understand it. But that was his presentation. Let me just get rid of this. I'm having some obvious lagging issues here, so I'm going to have to close some stuff down. I just do. Right, so before we open up the hangout, there is something I want to do. See if we can find the right screen here. Because I'm in a bit of a tizzy. There it is. There it is. Alright. So there's this hangout that I'm obviously the one at all. This sort of, what do they call it? The troll hangout. But I want to say good morning to Sia. Sia seems to have, I think she's come online. No, she hasn't come online yet. False alarm. So sorry. Sorry. So, well, forget that then. So what I'm going to do now, I think, is, because it's April Fool's, and because I'm a sucker for punishment, I'm going to experiment by opening up a hangout to the public. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So, stand by. I'm going to do exactly that. I'll be back in a minute. there's the hangout, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing is, how do you get into it? Well, I don't know, but I'm not too sure people want to. But I'll just leave it there for now. And have a bit of caffeine while I figure out why I am kind of not right in the back there. I got a chroma key fix. So let me have my chroma key fix for 1 second. 1 second, please. Because it's not looking quite right. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, no, not quite right, is it? I'm gonna just tweak it a little bit. Way too much. Oh, that looks good right there. Yeah. Ooh, what are that? 80, 86, 80. Ooh, 66. Kidding me. All right. What do I know? So there you go. That is the hangout. There is no one in the hangout because no one in the chat room has clicked on the link to get to the hangout. How do they do that? You may ask. You certainly may. I'm going to tell you how to do that. You got to click on the link that's in the YouTube chat. That's not in the YouTube chat. You got to click on the link that will be in the YouTube chat when I decide to find it and actually put it in there. Right, so here we go. Now this link will be available on and off during this broadcast. Alright. To join the hangout, to join the chat / hangout. There we go. And now we'll just wait and see what happens. Oh, excuse me. You gotta scratch the old. Yeah. All right. Oh, that was good. So, back on. You like the hat? What'd you think? I bought this hat like 20 years ago. Still good. It's Australian something or other, like anti-rain, anti-everything. Yeah, I just treated it a few days ago, so it's waterproof. But it's just hold on a second. Australian Outback, genuine leather, made in the USA. I don't know. You know what? I don't know. All I know is it's quality. It's waterproof. It's... And I messed up something here. There we go. There we go. All right. This is what is going to happen. So, it is 5:37 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Easter Monday, I think. Yeah, no, sorry, Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday. So that there are no people around to join the hangout is not much of a surprise. So what I'm going to do is, we're just coming up to the hour, so we're going to stop. That's what we're going to do. We're going to stop. And we're going to say thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for hanging in there. Please subscribe. That would be nice. And throw a like in there if you like. Throw a dislike if you like. And share. Why not? Just share to everybody. That would be great. Oh, one thing. I will be back very shortly to see if anyone's awake with their coffee while I go make another pot. And I will keep this hangout idea open. Okay?